And we should be live now. This video is for someone who wants to learn about lead generation and promotional tactics. And I have my video, my vision on just to make sure everything is working. So if you're watching this YouTube live video about the Entrepreneur Weekly Report, hello, my name is Nathan Webster. I'm a marketing consultant. I have an agency. And in this agency, just making sure my stuff is working. I am a team of one, but I have contractors, and I make sure that when it comes to my products, my services, that I do it to the best of my ability. And so I like to share my learnings, what went bad, what went good. And so doing this Entrepreneur Weekly recap for the last probably 2-3 months, I like to offer the time to answer any questions that you may have. So when it comes to today's chat, and I'm going to put it in the chat, and let me just say, ask me anything via chat. If there's something more that you want me to talk about. So today's topics, because I put out a post on what you wanted me to talk about, and the two that I got back was lead generation and promotion tactics. So for those that say, Nathan, okay, can you tell me more? And I'm like, yes, I can tell you more. And matter of fact, I'm going to show you what that looks like as well, because I want to make sure that you can walk away with something tangible. And so I'm going to share my screen. And so with this screen, I would just want to make sure you see what I see. And we're going to get there. It looks like it's there. I want to make sure I see it on the big screen. These are making sure I see it so that you can see it. So today, the two topics are lead generation and promotional tactics. And so I'm sharing my screen, so hopefully you get to see. Okay, there we go. There's three core things I want you to learn from lead generation and four from promotional tactics. Now, you can take a screenshot. If you want to take a picture, please do so, because when it comes to lead generation, it goes hand in hand with promotional tactics. And this is a big part when it comes to, I'm going to say down here, I'm going to make sure I put it right here, is this equals having a marketing strategy. Now, not everyone has a marketing strategy, and that's okay. If you don't have a marketing strategy, don't think you can't do this work. Don't think like you can't put yourself out there, because a lot of this can be, we could say it could be a personal brand. It could be a business that you're starting, like we can say a side hustle. It can mean a lot of different things, okay? And I can also say your personal brand, and let me back some of this stuff up so we can maybe see all of it. I don't want to put it to where you can't see it all. You know, people say, "Well, I'm not starting a personal brand." Well, what about your resume when it comes to finding a job, right? What about if you're looking to build your career, especially when it comes to my college students? I start having this conversation of what does it look like when it comes to you putting your name out there. Now, I'm going to go in tandem, which is why I have both of these here when it comes to lead generation and promotional tactics. Okay. Now, this is within the marketing strategy. Now, if you're just doing your resume, I'm not going to tell you to build a marketing strategy, but it's pretty important. I will see if I can highlight this here. Let me see if I can highlight this, because we want to get to the point where this is not like it's like I don't want to say a foreign concept. And in this foreign concept that we're talking about, I want you to see how important this is. Now, if you, I want to make sure that before we keep going forward, that if you want help right now, you can ask a question, or because if you're not watching this live, because if you're watching live, ask questions. Please put it in the chat. If not, if you're watching this at a later time, I'm gonna have a link down there. You can schedule some time with me, and see if there's something that I can help you with, sharpen something up. But if there is anything that you have questions about, if you're watching this live, go ahead and ask questions. And if you haven't already, subscribe. I'm going to continue to bring this to you because I want to make sure that you're getting what you need to get out of it. So, as I'm looking at this lead generation, when I was saying, coming back to the marketing strategy, okay, to the lead generation, both of these are core things that you want to have if you have a business. A lead generation, if you have a personal resume and you want to get yourself out there, this is you doing your very best to get hired, right? So when it comes to the promotional tactics, the key thing that you want to do is just stay top of mind. When you stay in top of mind of the solution, of like, you're applying for a job, right? You want to be able to say, I'm an accountant, I can do accounting things, I went to school to become an accountant, I already done bookkeeping, I have all this experience, right? You want to be able to put yourself in the position to compete, right? And the core thing about when it comes to these tactics is staying to the point where uh is coming to the point of where you are. I just want to make sure we're good. Whoops, sorry about that. I apologize. Let me silence that. Coming to the point where, sorry, I had a phone call and I got a little discombobulated, even though I put my stuff. Uh, I had to tell my boo thing. She just called me, so I apologize for that, y'all. All right. So coming back to the promotional tactics. Hey, real life, right? Here is the part when we talk about when we're talking about entrepreneurship. There's always something going on. All right, so when you're staying top of mind, it's extremely important that you do that when it comes to solving their problem, because when you're just doing like your resume and you're putting yourself out there, that's something easy. You just like hit the submit button and that's it. But let's say you have a side hustle, and in this side hustle, you're trying to make money because you're trying to find what we call customers, which is lead generation. Lead generation is another way of saying getting customers. And so in my customers, you are building your funnel to where you can always over deliver. And when I say funnel, and I'm just going to share something different with you all, because I do want to, oops, let me hit stop sharing. And let me bring you to another window, a resource that I use when it's come to with my clients. I did I did a presentation on this before when it comes to digital marketing, but I use this when it comes to um, helping folks understand that there's a marriage between marketing here, right? You see the marketing here, and the sales are here. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm looking at my other monitor to see if there's any questions, and I don't see anything. So when it comes to the marriage between marketing and sales, begins with where you are building your funnel. In this funnel, you have what's called awareness, interest, desire, and action. So we call this in marketing the AIDA funnel. So I also will add, when you're getting awareness, that means you're getting people's attention. And when you're getting people's attention, that means you are putting yourself in the position to where people are now paying attention to you. But uh, I'm giving you the real life scenario here on the left, the way that looks like for me when I'm getting people's attention, they're getting aware of my services. It's more than likely, it's like anywhere from 3 to 6, 7, 8 steps. It's a hello. Met them at a networking. Nice to meet you. Maybe we're still talking at the networking event, or maybe it's a coffee. But then when they start getting more interest, maybe we've gone back and forth with a couple of emails. In this email, they're asking me a couple of questions, kind of like, well, I would love to pick your brain on something, in the email, like my series on can I help you I almost said can I help you find something. That was my target days. No, is can I pick your brain real quick. So here's where we're talking about potentially they are looking to do business with me, but maybe not, they don't know how to do business with me, or marketing has been a foreign concept. And so they are now having some piqued interest in what that looks like. But that interest will look very different, because again, when it comes to lead generation, you're putting yourself out there, You're putting yourself out there because now they're somewhat interested to the point where they desire it, they want it. And I'm saying, here are my services, and I'm going to come back to here at the very bottom of the proposal sent and the contract signed, because here's where it becomes very real that they have a problem. And when people have a problem, then you're in good hands. And so, in good hands in the aspect like, oh no, like, I mean, look, we all have problems, but the question is, does your solution match their problem? And if you can match their problem, you're good here. Because when you're putting yourself out there, when you first start off, it is incredibly difficult. And when you're incredible, and it's hard because in this week of going out and talking to people, people have already started and they put themselves out there. They have already digital channels, they have assets that they've been doing their stuff. And I've been asked this question several times this week. That's why it's in the weekly entrepreneur recap, and why I brought this up. And it says, and they were saying how, like, Nathan, it's really hard. Like, I don't understand. Well, I have to tell them that, look, when you're building your brand, selling isn't branding, but we are familiar with brands as in companies, but we have a hard time understanding what certain brands look like and what that looks like for our like, say, certain companies. And when you think of a big company, you kind of think of your company. And so when you're first starting off, it is incredibly difficult. So the best way to promote yourself is with your name, your image. I should put a comment here. Image and likeness, where you can always access on a repeatable level. And this is sometimes the best way to do it is on a social media platform. But when you get to that point, now and you stayed on top of the person's mind, you are able to solve their problem. Now we're getting to the point where there is a match, right? There's a symbiosis. Oh man, now I can't even say it. A symbiotic relationship to where you are able to do the things that um, you want to do. My phone is just blowing up for some reason. Um, and this is where the opportunity comes down to, and I can stop sharing my screen now. If you haven't already, take a screenshot of this because I may not come back to it. You are now coming to the point now you are building the brand that you want for yourself. And so in this week's w- m- list of meetings, I was coming across a lot of questions around branding and what does branding mean, and when I'm building my personal brand, what does that look like? And when it comes to my personal brand, or I'm helping other personal brands, because I meet with other business owners and leaders, they're like, how do I help them with their brand? And I'm like, well, that's again, how do you want to show up? And so when you get to the point of where people are interested and not quite sure, we all have that, like, analysis paralysis, to where, like, I can't take it anymore. I just need to make a decision. And that's where, in the very beginning, initial stages of your messaging, does your brand check the box to the problem that they need to be moved from pain to pleasure? If your brand messaging has continued to deliver on the channels that people have received, not just in person, maybe not just in social media, not just in presentation or podcasting or video, or it one to one, because one to one is a channel as well. You are able to convey to them, which they are receiving, that your solution is going to fix their problem, because they want to move from pain to pleasure. We all have problems, but the problem that people are facing is it's hard to distinguish. If I make this risk, if I buy this product, if I buy the solution, it will indeed, in fact, move me from pain to pleasure. That is what a successful brand does. They will under promise and over deliver. So this is where I said, like, ask me anything when it comes to all the things that you think that you're able to do. uh and if you feel like you can do it, put it to the test, put it out there. That can become your personal brand. But this is why I'm gonna put it in chat. Branding isn't selling, And selling isn't branding. The other thing I'm going to put in the chat for you is, y'all, and listen, let's just keep it real. And I'm going to put this in the chat too. I'm going to put the lead generation is getting customers. I'll put that in there. I want y'all to understand that we all, oh, this is gonna look funky if I do it this way. Let's see. Let's see if this is gonna work, y'all. I'm gonna try something different here. This is all different for me. It didn't work, so my apologies. Um, but it's in the chat, okay? But what I want you to understand is you're a brand, whether or not if you like it or not. You are a brand because the brand, anything's brand, a company, a for-profit, a nonprofit, whatever, a person, whatever. You are a brand. And when people experience that brand, whatever you, however you engage, however you move, that's what they're going to remember about you. I think that's what Mark Cuban said, or Jeff Bezos says. Your brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. And so the promotional tactics, I'm going to put that in the chat as well, is because you do want to find the best channel. And I'm going to just brag on my booth thing here. My booth thing, oh, this is it's too much. All right, so here, oops, promotional tactics. That's too much. All right. So promotional tactics, in which my boo thing does really good. She's an awesome baker. She can throw down, and with her throwing down is, man, from the cakes that she does, the uh from the food, it is just, it is outstanding. And people know her as the ability to cook. And that's not a bad thing, and that is going to start to be her brand. But yet she's an awesome friend. She's an awesome listener. And she is an awesome cook, but cooking and baking, it can be different. Um, when I first started my marketing agency, one of the key things we would do is go into restaurants, because restaurants always had a hard time. Um, they always had a hard time with getting people in the doors, because they're an awesome cook, not just an awesome restaurant owner. Well, you got to have people at the tables to serve your food. And one of the key things is like, to get people in the door, you have to continue to promote and put yourself out there. And so what they start to get to know for is what, like the clients, was that they provided, one client provided an awesome experience, another client provided awesome customer service, another client, they had a really good food. And sometimes when we say really good food, it was like, it could have been comfort food, it could have been nutritious food, it could have been health food, or it was junk food. I had one client that had j- uh, comfort junk food that was healthy. So it's like, it's all different, but people then started to say, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." Again, when I say the promotional tactics, when you are trying to put yourself out there on a regular basis, people say, "Oh, I didn't know you had that in you." And once they find that you have you have that, like, you the one, you him, you her, then they're like, "Oh, my bad, I didn't know." Okay, and then obviously the perspective has changed. The perceived value of what you bring to, say, the relationship has changed. And so this is the last thing I want to say before I get off here, because I don't see any questions on there, and that's fine. That's cool. I'm glad I'm able to enrich and help you take this, take your game to the next level. When it comes to lead generation and your promotional tactics, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the biggest things out there. If you still here, thank you. Please already subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like and comment later. If you joining us later, one of the biggest takeaways I'm going to tell you that's so important in all of this is that at the end of the day, you should be doing business with the people that you love working with. Those should be your customers. And guess what? Those customers become your ambassadors. That's what you want to get your brand to be, is these people that are loyal to who you are. Like, when I say who you are, I'm talking about what your brand represents. And when it comes to uh if I wanted something sweet, I'm gonna go to my boo thing. Even though I can get something from the store, we can get some from the bakery. and she loves something from this one place. So I'm not going to say their name, but when I want something sweet, I know I can get it from my boo thing because she has already built that reputation with me that when it comes to something sweet, she's going to check the box, not because I love her. Of course, I love her, but because she knows how to throw down. Right. But she just doesn't do that for me. She does it for everyone. And that's what you want to get to. You want everybody, which is why testimonials are so key. If one person says one thing and the other person says the same thing, you now have a brand. If another person says the same thing, now you need to amplify that brand. That should be your messaging because here's what Nike has done, and they've done it beautifully. When they said just do it, people think just do it when it comes to sports. Nike, even though Phil Knight did not want a marketing firm, they did. They moved with for it with the just do it. And now when you see the swoosh or when you hear like, hey, you just need to do it, you think of Nike, you think of sports. When the funniest thing is they wanted to be known as running shoes. That's not what they're known for when you think of Nike on a global branding level, but people know that's their roots with Bill Bowerman. But when you start off, that's why starting off is so incredibly difficult. And here, look, let me just, I'm just gonna, let me just share this one last thing and call it good here. Let me get back to the right screen. Uh, and this is why I said when it comes to when I said at the very end, when I say, and this is the big the is it why is it not sharing? Come on. There we go. When it comes to the marriage becomes marketing and sales, this is a system. You can't see it because it's a different slide. I only grabbed this one. You see, it's another slide. They have built a process to where like you're beyond the awareness and interest. You already know about them. Now it's down to they don't have to promote anymore. They don't have to promote anymore. All they got to do is sell, but they got to put the right product in front of you to sell. But more than likely, as I was talking with one business owner, they were just like, yeah, when I think of when I need to buy something new, I immediately think of Nike, right? Again, that person has a problem, and that problem can be solved with the brand that they're most synonymous with. Because at that point, Nike hasn't done any effort or need to have at this moment to sell you because they already did. And once you become a brand loyalist, and you become also an ambassador because what are you repping all the time? You're repping the brand that you enjoy. So that was this week's learnings. And I don't see any chats, but I put a whole bunch of chats in there. But if you have questions or on how to develop a personal brand, and like I said in the previous slide that I was showing you how it comes down to a marketing strategy. Like, don't get frustrated if things are not working, and that's just part of the lack of a strategy because you can do a lot of tactics, but if you don't have a strategy, it's not going to work out. So here's where you want to continue to follow me for more videos. I already have some videos out that talk about marketing strategy. It could be as little as creating call to actions. It could be as how you show up on social media. It could be how you deliver your sales pitch. It could be how you do a proposal. Follow me for the more insights because maybe there's a certain way that you just can't see that you're not able to capitalize on. I'd be more than happy to help you. So thank you again for watching this video. Until next time, I wish you nothing but the best. So